Okay, our learning target has been working with applications of derivatives, and probably the most important part of that is making sure we can interpret what the heck a derivative is, what it means. So, reminder, a derivative is an instantaneous instantaneous don't know if that's spelled perfectly, rate. Okay, so we always need something per, which that'll limit some answer choices in number 3 and 4. Number 1 here, P gives the population of a town T years after it was founded. What is the best interpretation for the following statement? The slope of the line tangent to the graph of P at T equals 2, so our time, we're talking about 2 years, is equal to -10. So the population is going down at 10 people per year. Well, both answers say that. So it's that subtle difference between the word after and over. So if we talk about after the first 2 years, the town's population decreased by 10 people per year. That's implying that's happening currently. Whereas if we say over the first 2 years, the town's population decreased by 10 people per year. That's talking about a slope over 2 years, whereas this is slope at a point. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you go do the Khan Academies, your answer for number 1, you want that word after or at 2 years. After 2 years, the town's population decreased by 10 people per year, or it's decreasing would be by 10 people per year. Okay. Number 2, kind of more of the same, and that's going to be a theme on all these. So the function d is day length, and the other thing we're keeping track of is nth days. Okay. And day length we are keeping track of in minutes. So that 10 right there in the notation, what is the best interpretation of the statement? Well, 10 right there, that's in place of the n, and n is days. So we're talking ultimately about January 10th, the 10th day of the year, which is in both answers. So that's not enough to pick the final answer. 3 right here, that is in minutes. So if we are talking ultimately that little apostrophe there, that prime tells us we're talking about a derivative. The derivative at the 10th day is 3 minutes. It's positive. So the day length is increasing 3 minutes a day. So once again, this ends up being an English thing. What's the difference between on and until? Well, on January 10th versus until January 10th. On January 10th, that tells us it's 3 minutes more per day. This would be until January 10th. So like this would be, we get to January 10th and the rate changes. Whereas typically this is a little bit of a curve, and we are talking about right there, the rate of change on that day is 3. So we would want to be picking A. Number 3, again, kind of identify your variables. H is height in centimeters. T is time in seconds. So ultimately, we are saying at a time of 0 seconds, the height is changing by a rate of 3. A is completely wrong because it's not a number of centimeters. It's how the centimeters are changing. B is also wrong because it's flipping the x and y variable. And then C is wrong because rate of 3 what? We're ultimately going 3 centimeters per second. So if you just know that rates are always some unit per some other unit, picking the correct answer, which happens to be D, it should be kind of on the easy side. And then lastly, number 4 here, we are looking at due to the tide, the water level rises and falls daily at Buzzards Bay. Awesome name. D gives the depth of water in meters. And T is the hours after midnight. So T hours after midnight would be 8 a.m. D is automatically out. It's not the rate up to 8 a.m. It is the rate at exactly 8 a.m. So D is out. D is to no good. So at 8 a.m., the water level decreased at a rate of 5.5 meters. At 8 a.m., the water level decreased at a rate of 0.5 meters per hour. At a rate of 8 a.m., the water level, that's not a rate. That's talking about an actual number. So it's between A and B there. And the big difference, A does not have that word per hour. Our correct answer is B. At 8 a.m., the water level decreased at a rate of 0.5 meters per hour. And the negative is telling us that that decrease is happening. So please be careful when you're reading these. Make sure you can intelligently and succinctly describe and interpret a derivative when we get around to the test. Get some practice both on the review and on the Khan Academy unit test to be prepared for the upcoming test.